Nedved was bored. Like super bored. Summer vacation was supposed to be fun, but all his friends were gone. Even his goldfish, Finster, seemed bored. That's when Nedved had a brilliant idea. He would go to the zoo. Not just any zoo, though. The Wonder Zoo. It was famous for its amazing animals and cool exhibits. Plus, they had a brand new Komodo dragon. Nedved really wanted to see that Komodo dragon. He grabbed his dad's binoculars from the kitchen drawer. They were old and dusty, but they worked. He imagined himself as an explorer, discovering amazing creatures. This was going to be awesome. The Wonder Zoo was even cooler than Nedved expected. He saw elephants spraying water, monkeys swinging from ropes, and a giant panda munching on bamboo. He even saw the Komodo dragon. It was huge and scaly, just like in the pictures. Nedved tried to get a picture with his phone, but the battery died. Typical. The sun started to set. The zoo was emptying out. Nedved didn't even notice, though. He was too busy watching a family of meerkats playing. They were hilarious. He decided to head back to the entrance. That's when he realized something was wrong. Really wrong. The zoo was completely empty. There wasn't a single person in sight, except Nedved, of course. He ran to the entrance. Huge metal gates were already locked shut. He rattled the bars, but it was no use. "Hello, anyone there?" he shouted. His voice echoed through the empty zoo. No answer. Nedved's stomach dropped. He was locked in the zoo. So Nedved wandered around the zoo, feeling the weight of the day pressing down on him. The zoo, which had been bustling with activity just hours ago, was now eerily silent. The once vibrant pathways were now deserted, and the only company he had were the distant calls of animals settling in for the night. It was getting darker, and the shadows seemed to grow longer with every passing minute. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow that quickly faded into twilight. The trees and enclosures cast long, eerie shadows that seemed to dance and shift with the fading light. The animal noises were louder now too. The nocturnal creatures were waking up, their calls echoing through the empty zoo. It was a symphony of hoots, howls and roars, each sound adding to the growing sense of unease that Nedved felt. Hoots, howls and roars filled the air. The cacophony was almost overwhelming, a stark contrast to the silence of the day. It was as if the zoo had come alive in a different, more primal way. Nedved tried to convince himself it was just his imagination. It didn't work. Every rustle of leaves, every distant cry seemed to be amplified in the darkness. His heart raced as he looked around, trying to find a safe place to spend the night. He needed to find somewhere safe to spend the night. The open pathways and exposed areas were too risky. He needed shelter, somewhere enclosed where he could feel a semblance of safety. He thought about sleeping in the monkey enclosure. It seemed like a good idea at first. The enclosure was sturdy, and the monkeys were usually friendly during the day. Then he remembered how much monkeys like to throw things. The playful creatures could become quite mischievous, especially at night. The last thing he needed was to be pelted with objects while trying to sleep. That wasn't going to work. Maybe the reptile house. It was dark and creepy, but at least it was enclosed. The thought of spending the night surrounded by snakes and lizards wasn't appealing, but it seemed like the safest option. It was dark and creepy, but at least it was enclosed. The reptile house was designed to keep its inhabitants secure, which meant it could also keep him safe from the outside world. He was about to head there when he heard a noise, a terrifying noise. It was unlike anything he had heard before, a low, guttural growl that sent chills down his spine. He froze, his mind racing with possibilities. What could it be? Was it an animal or something else entirely? The uncertainty was paralyzing, and for a moment he couldn't move. He had to make a decision, and fast. It was a low growl, deep and rumbling, like an earthquake was about to hit. It came from the direction of the lion enclosure. Nedved froze. He slowly turned to see what was happening. His blood ran cold. The lion enclosure was open, and it wasn't just the lions. All the big cat enclosures were open. Tigers, leopards, and cheetahs were roaming free. This was not good. This was very, very not good. Section 6, cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth, capable of reaching speeds up to 70 miles per hour. But what happens when you find yourself face to face with this incredible predator? Run! Suddenly, a cheetah darted out from behind a bush. Its muscles rippled under its sleek, spotted coat as it moved with astonishing speed and grace. It was sleek and spotted, with eyes locked on Nedved. Those eyes, sharp and focused, were like two burning embers, intent on their target. Nedved didn't even think, he just ran. He ran faster than he'd ever run in his life. His legs pumped like pistons, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The world around him blurred as he focused solely on escaping the predator behind him. He could hear the cheetah's paws pounding the pavement behind him. Each thud was a reminder of the danger that was closing in on him, a relentless drumbeat of impending doom. It was gaining on him. The distance between them was shrinking with every passing second. Nedved's heart pounded in his chest, a wild rhythm of fear and adrenaline. Nedved spotted a tall oak tree, its branches stretched out like welcoming arms, offering a glimmer of hope in his desperate situation. It was his only chance. He knew that if he could reach the tree, he might have a shot at survival. His mind raced as he calculated the distance and his chances. He jumped and grabbed a low-hanging branch. His fingers dug into the rough bark as he fought to pull himself up, his muscles straining with the effort. With a grunt, he pulled himself up. Every inch felt like a mile as he climbed, his body fueled by sheer willpower and the primal instinct to survive. He climbed higher and higher, his heart pounding in his chest. The higher he went, the safer he felt, but he knew he couldn't stop until he was well out of the cheetah's reach. The cheetah reached the base of the tree. It looked up, its eyes still locked on Nedved, frustration evident in its gaze. It paced back and forth, letting out frustrated yowls. The predator was relentless, but it knew it couldn't climb the tree to reach its prey. Nedved was safe for now. He took a moment to catch his breath, his body trembling from the adrenaline rush. He knew he had narrowly escaped a deadly encounter, but he also knew he couldn't let his guard down just yet. Section 7. Safe in the branches of wonder. Nedved caught his breath, clinging to the tree branch. He looked around. The zoo looked different from up here. The moonlight was shining through the trees, making everything look magical. He could see the outline of the giraffes in the distance, their long necks reaching for the stars. It was actually kind of beautiful. Nedved felt a strange sense of peace wash over him. He was stuck, sure, but he was also experiencing something incredible. Section 8. Reflecting on a wild night. Nedved spent the rest of the night in the tree. He watched the animals roam free. He saw things most people would never get to see. He realized something important. He wasn't just at any zoo, he was at the Wonder Zoo. And in the Wonder Zoo, amazing things could happen, even if those amazing things involved being chased by a cheetah. As the first rays of sunlight peeked over the horizon, Nedved knew one thing for sure. This was going to be the craziest story to tell his friends, if he ever saw them again, that is. Section 9. The wonder continues. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden hue over the sprawling Wonder Zoo. The air was crisp, filled with the distant calls of exotic animals and the rustling of leaves in the gentle morning breeze. It was a new day, but for Nedved it felt like the culmination of a lifetime of experiences. The sound of keys jingling jolted Nedved awake. He had spent the night in the most unexpected of places, high up in the branches of an ancient tree. The keys belonged to a zookeeper making his early rounds, unaware of the surprise that awaited him. A zookeeper was standing at the base of the tree, staring at him in disbelief. His eyes widened as he tried to make sense of the situation. It wasn't every day that one found a visitor perched like a bird in the zoo's oldest tree. Why are you? The zookeeper sputtered, at a loss for words. Nedved just grinned. He had no easy explanation, no simple way to convey the whirlwind of events that had led him there. It's a long story, he said, beginning his descent from the tree. Each step down felt like a step back into reality, away from the surreal adventure that had unfolded over the past hours. As he walked out of the zoo, Nedved took one last look back. The memories of the night flooded his mind. The thrill of the chase, the awe of discovery, the moments of sheer wonder. He knew things would never be the same. The zoo had changed him in ways he couldn't yet fully understand. It had shown him the magic that lay hidden in the mundane, the extraordinary within the ordinary. He had faced his fears, had an incredible adventure, and lived to tell the tale. The zoo had been a place of wonder, but also a place of growth and self-discovery. The Wonder Zoo had certainly lived up to its name. And Nedved? He had found a part of himself he never knew existed. The animals, the trees, the very air of the place had whispered secrets to him. Secrets of courage, curiosity, and the boundless wonders of the world. Well, he was ready for whatever wonder came next. With a heart full of memories and a spirit ignited by adventure, Nedved stepped forward, eager to embrace the unknown. The world was vast, and he was just beginning to explore its endless possibilities.